Okay, friends, I'm going to have to say something that might sting a little, but it's coming from a place of love. The reason why most entrepreneurs aren't successful for years has nothing to do with algorithms, strategy, or whether or not Mercury is in retrograde. It's because you don't know who the hell you're actually talking to. You're out here saying things like, my target market are truth seekers and open bodied or open hearted women seeking empowerment. Or I work with heart centered entrepreneurs who are looking to find love and joy and heart expansion in their life. I hate to break it to you, but these are not actual, real problems to be solved. When you're talking about heart expansion or open consciousness or anything, those are benefits. If you try to promise them as the solution, they're not going to believe you. They're going to think you're filled with BS. No one wakes up in the morning and looks in the mirror and says, damn, I sure need to go buy a course because I'm a truth seeker, or I'm so happy I'm a heart open woman. People don't use these terms, so you shouldn't use them either. And they're certainly not saying I'm a heart seeking woman who's seeking empowerment or confidence, so I better go drop a $5,000 course. We need to speak in the language that your ideal client would speak into. People say things like, I feel gross in my body. They say things like, I feel tired all the time. They say things like, I don't have enough time with my family. They say things like, I don't know how to actually make social media work for my business, or I'm not getting sales and I'm not getting leads. Those are the things that they actually say. And so most people teach you target market types of things with talking about demographics. Like you should try to figure out who is this person that you're serving, like 35 to 65-year-old woman who's an entrepreneur. That is not what actually gets people to buy. What gets people to buy is you speaking directly to the situation that they're in. So we're going to rename this and call it a situational target market. Because when you're flowery and you're vague, your audience doesn't hear you. You sound like you're trying to sell BS, essentially. And so how do we speak to them in a way that perks their ears up? When people are in a situation to have their problem solved, like for example, a brand new business owner who's looking to get their first sale, or a seasoned entrepreneur who's trying to make their first 7 figures, they could both be considered women entrepreneurs, but they're in very different situations. And I know that this gets super confusing because you see in the marketplace people like Marie Forleo say things like, I'm going to help you build a brand and business that you love. And you hear Tony Robbins also making big, huge, vast promises. Or if you're a creative, maybe you see designers out there just designing for everyone. Or if you're a photographer, you are trying to just get a client anywhere and you're like, I'll basically take pictures for anybody who needs them. You're a senior in high school, I'll take your picture. You're having a wedding, I'll take your picture. And what happens is that you think that you're going to market to a lot more people, but that generality actually makes it harder to understand what you do. And people have really big audiences like Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo can do this because they're casting a wider net to capture more of their audience. But if you don't have an audience, you're actually competing with them versus finding something that allows you to be in a category of one. So in a world where you could be a general, let's give you a metaphor here, a general doctor or a heart surgeon, which one is going to get paid more? Which one is going to be sought after? Are you going to seek out a general doctor for heart surgery? No, you're going to find a heart surgeon. You have a huge problem. You want the best person to do it. You want somebody who's specialized. And consequently, heart surgeons get paid a ton more than a general doctor. And they're specialized. They're sought out for that reason. So if your current way that you speak about your target market sounds something like, I help women between 25 to 45 grow their businesses, you have basically said nothing. You've basically said the equivalent of I sell food. Okay. So the question is, what kind of food? Are you selling tacos, sushi, frozen pizza, Hot Pockets? Because none of those things are the same energy. And can you imagine trying to make it as a restaurant where your whole entire pitch is we sell food? Okay. That's what you sound like when you say, I want to serve women entrepreneurs, and it ends there, right? So this is why we're going to talk about you getting situational. And that's what we call psychographics. So psychographics are about what people are going through in their lives. It's not really just based on age, genders, or zip code, right? It's not generalized, it's situation. So let's say that somebody has a puppy and they're trying to train that puppy. And they would be under the situation of new puppy mom, right? That's very different than somebody who owns a dog that has an old dog, or somebody who doesn't have a dog at all. So when we think about the situation, desires, and needs, if we're creating a product or a service or a community of new puppy moms, can you imagine you're a new puppy mom in a community with 5,000 other puppy moms, how the guru could then lead to providing solutions for that group? So I have to ask you the question, the person that you want to solve their problem, what is their specific situation? Are you helping ice skaters learn advanced moves like a triple sow cow? You're certainly going to want to be specific about that versus trying to sell a triple sow cow course to somebody who can't even stand up on skates, right? So this is where it gets fun. Your business foundation, I want you to throw out everything that you've heard about niches, about target markets, about them making you do that stupid avatar thing where they sit down and they write and they're like, give her a name, blah, blah, blah. You miss the whole entire point of what actually sells. There's something that I'm coining as the buyer trigger statement. This is going to be the statement that you're going to state for who you help and how you help them that gets a person to raise their hand and is like, hell yes, I'm a new puppy mom, or hell yes, I'm a postpartum mom who needs to lose weight, which is very different than somebody who has hormonal issues of a different kind. Imagine you create a community of 1,000 moms who are all going through the same thing at the same time. So we talk about situational as your target market so that everybody who comes into your community or buys your program or buys your services feels like it's made for them. And when you've gotten too general, you've missed out on that opportunity. You don't have a 1 million person audience like some of these gurus. So why are you trying to market like them? This is why they say the riches are in the niches, for this exact reason. So no one needs you to promise them enlightenment or happiness or joy. What they need is a freaking solution to their problem, okay? They need an effing result. Here is your homework. You're going to write out your buyer trigger statement, and that is going to be, number 1, what is the situation your target market is in? Explain where they are in their life that they need your help. Maybe it's an entrepreneur who's trying to achieve their first 6 figures, okay? That is the situation that they're in. Very different than a seasoned entrepreneur who's trying to get multiple 7 figures, right? So number 2, what is the exact problem that they can't do alone? In the entrepreneur example, they can't achieve the first 6 figures on their own. That is their problem. Your solution is you're going to help them achieve that 6 figures. Number 3, that is the goal. What are you going to help them achieve? So in the case of the postpartum mom needs to lose 20 pounds. The situation she's in is she's a postpartum mom with a newborn, has very specific needs. And then what is the solution for that? What is the goal? So you want to remember that being multi-passionate is fine. You can do all the things that you want to do eventually. But for the next 90 days, can you pick just one lane? Go all in on it to see what kinds of magical things can happen. Remember, you're not creating a book that's going to publish to 1 million people. You can shift. But this is going to be how you're going to do the essentialism model, which is essentially, instead of you hopping from thing to thing, you're going to go all in on one and go 8 times faster, just like seen in essentialism. So if your content is currently getting crickets and you're not getting any sales, it's not because you suck. It's because you're speaking in a way that people aren't listening. When things are too general, it doesn't sound like it's made for them. Nobody's saying, if you're like, hey, women entrepreneur, But if you're like, hey, women entrepreneur who's trying to get her first 100 leads, like that's very specific. Stop trying to talk to everyone, because when you talk to everyone, you sell to no one, which is why nobody's responding to your posts. You're not getting any sales because they don't feel like it's made for them. Now, I want you to go write that buyer trigger statement, and I want us to build your empire together. And please, for the love of all things holy, stop calling your target market open-hearted women, because that's not the situation that they're in. That might be the benefit. They may turn into that, but that's not the promise you're going to make them. You need to think about how you're going to help somebody solve the situation that they're in. And if you get it into one of three buckets around love, around health, or around money, and you out the transformational work you're going to have them do in one of those areas, or if you're a creative and you make the decision that you're going to help one type of entrepreneur, instead of trying to design for all clients, if you have a background and a passion for health trainers and you used to be a health trainer or you know a lot about the industry, then you can start to position the current, the community that you're going to create, the products and services that you're going to create for helping health trainers or fitness trainers be able to get the social media and branding that they need for their business. And suddenly your image packs that you provide to them, the lead magnets that you have on your website, the offers that you're doing are like, hey, I create amazing brands for fitness trainers. Look at my portfolio of fitness trainers. Okay. Now you might be thinking to yourself, I don't know who I want to work with. Great. You're going to find out in the next video how you can test this. Okay. And if you've ever worked with one-on-one clients before and you have truly loved a very specific type of target market and you would love to create a business around serving that particular target market, someplace where you want to live for years, if you know you're so passionate about the fitness industry, or you're so passionate about online coaches, or you're so passionate about helping Etsy store owners or whoever it is, think about where you want to live for a while. Who is it that you want to work with? What's the topic that would truly light you up and that you could never get sick of? And that's what you should be basing it on, not deciding you're going to create a course to help people become more empowered or find more joy in their lives. Even if your program does that, you don't want to promise it. That needs to be an ancillary benefit that never comes out of your mouth other than way after they're already sold on the problem that you're going to solve for them. Okay? This, out of all the tens of thousands of entrepreneurs I've worked with, the ones that create the buyer trigger statement that's about a specific situation that their target market is in, and that they are gathering those people who are in that same stage or interest level in their life, when they create products and services, for the example of the new puppy mom or the postpartum mom who's trying to lose weight, or the empty nester who's trying to get on her feet again, when you have a whole entire community of empty nesters all rallying together, this is where when you put offers in front of people, they go, this feels like it's made for me. So you're going to create your buyer trigger statement. This is where we roll. Okay. Now let's do it. You're going to commit to this for 90 days. We're going to make some magic happen. You're going to get some of your first sales before you're even ready. Let's freaking do this. Okay. I'll see you in the next lesson.